Did you know that birds sit on power lines because it gives them an extremely good field of vision whenever they're looking for prey or predators around them? And they can do this safely because they're not coming into contact with anything that touches the ground or the ground itself, so the electrons can't transfer through their body and electrocute them. Isn't that super cool? Speaking of birds, have you ever heard of the conspiracy theory that involves birds not being real? Whether you have or have not, it's an extremely interesting topic that I really think you should take up. Well, actually, you don't have to take it up. I'm just going to tell you all about it. I've been researching this topic for the past month, and I have gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of information from a variety of credible resources, and I am going to tell you during this presentation the background information about it, who was involved, and how it was developed, and my own personal opinions about it. So this theory was established by Peter McIndoe, who was a college student, in January of 2017. He decided at a protest during Trump's first election that he was going to write on a poster board that birds are not real. And he came up with a complete backstory to it almost on the spot. And the backstory is that the government took all the birds and wiped all of them out, and they replaced them with drones, surveillance cameras, and robots. Yeah. So the social media and the press was immediately all over this, and people were absolutely asking questions. Which brings me to one of the persuasive tactics that was used for this conspiracy theory, which is ethos. When speaking of the topic, they would make statements with confidence so that they could sound like the statements were true, when really they were just absurd statements that they were making up that had no evidence to back them up. And people were believing them. Another tactic used was logos. They asked seemingly logical questions like, why do birds sit on power lines, suggesting that they were recharging the robots and the surveillance cameras. And have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Suggesting that baby pigeons don't exist and that they come out of a factory as whole pigeons. Once again, people believed it, and they did their research and didn't come up with any answers for these questions, so they immediately just started to believe them, leading to more suspicion of the government. Speaking of suspicion of the government, one of the most identifiable persuasive tactics used for this conspiracy theory is pathos. The people who are promoting this conspiracy theory and trying to get people to believe in it were evoking strong emotions in the citizens of America. People were scared and starting to distrust the government. They thought that the government was infringing on their privacy. So unfortunately, obviously, the theory was debunked in 2022 by Peter McIndoe himself. He revealed that the real meaning behind the conspiracy theory is to spread awareness about the spread of misinformation and how easily it is distributed and how dangerous it can be, and also how easily people believe something without doing any research besides looking at mass media. People still do believe that birds are not real, though. And the types of people who would most likely believe that this theory is true are probably the younger generations who are more easily influenced and open-minded, and then also people who already have distrust for the government. I personally did not believe this theory, and to me it was just, when it first came out, a silly little theory to mess with the older generations, and like that the Gen Z people were just in on the birds aren't real theory. And after my research, I realized still that it's not real, obviously, but also that it's much more than just the theory itself and having like a little joke between Gen Z as a generation. I enjoyed looking into the actual establisher and how he felt about the theory. Peter McIndoe, I think what he was doing was really great, trying to spread awareness about misinformation, and how the media can just be so poisonous, and how it's so important to do extensive amounts of research before you actually start to believe something. But unfortunately, I feel like the people who actually started to believe this theory of birds aren't real were way in too deep, and when he revealed that it actually was all made up, they completely ignored it and completely ignored the whole entire theory. So I hope that you take home from this presentation that you should be extremely cautious what you believe on the internet and what information you're looking at and where you're getting your information from, because you never know what's real and what's not real, especially with the use of AI nowadays. It's extremely dangerous, and you should do copious amounts of research, absolutely. And I hope that you learned about background information of this topic, the birds aren't real conspiracy theory, how it was developed, and my own personal opinions about it. I really appreciate you listening to my presentation, and I hope that you learned a lot from it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.